I have two short stories. The first one is called Sticks and Scenes My College Art Adventures. While attending Odessa College, I initially started with you know, basic AC/DC and electronic courses and stuff. Initially started with that, but eventually I started going taking art classes at Odessa College. And one of our art instructors, or the main art instructor I remember the most, was Barry Phillips. And he liked to have us draw like Mexico scenes, like adobe houses and churches and stuff like that. And I just really love these classes. You know, you get a class of, let's say, 20 people in a class. And the teacher will put something in the center of the class that everybody's going to draw from. So you got 20 people drawing the same thing, but when you're finished, all 20 pieces are different. They're different styles. Uh, uh, there's some that are, to me, that look better than the others. I remember this one guy in there. He could draw the prettiest pictures and faster than anybody else, and half the time, and look better than anybody else's. He really did have a talent for it. But each person just had their own style. That was what's so cool about art. You know, it could be, drawing whatever he puts in the middle, and everybody has a different style and view of that piece, and that's what kind of makes it so cool. And we would also we would draw with pencil, charcoal, ink, watercolor. We'd use different things, besides brushes. We would use sticks, uh, pieces of cardboard or whatever. We'd use any kind of tool, different shapes, whatever, to draw with. We just wouldn't just use a pencil necessarily. We would just use anything to put their paint on it and just draw away. So the tools you could use would just be pretty much anything. And then sometimes he'd give you a lot of time to draw this one thing, or sometimes he would say, you got 10 minutes to draw this, or 5 minutes, or he wants us to fill the entire page, or, it depends on your class, kind of depends on the design class. He would tell us how to look at an object and maybe concentrate on just one little piece of that thing that we're drawing and base it off of that. And we go outside sometimes and draw from nature, trees, build different buildings or houses across the street, you name it, whatever's around, we would draw it. It was just to me, it was really one of my favorite things I ever did was take those classes. And the people in those classes, you just bond with them. I never had such a strong bond with people as a group than I ever had before. I remember we even had a cookout or something, and we all went to a park as a class and had a little cookout and threw a football around and did different things like that. And of course, you get to meet these people when they have the same, desire to draw and do stuff as you do. It just really did like that. My next story is called Cosmic Curiosity, My Telescope and the Sun. While I was a teenager, I received a telescope. It was a refractor telescope. It wasn't a fancy one. I'm not sure how I got that telescope, whether it's for a birthday or a Christmas. I have absolutely no idea, but I had gotten one. And one of the things I remember doing with that telescope, it had a sun filter you could screw on at the end of that uh, telescope, the eyepiece you would look through, and you could point this telescope right at the sun, and that filter would protect your eyes from the sun. So you could look at the sun directly, being magnified with this telescope, and you could actually see the sunspots on the sun. And each day you could go look through that telescope at the sun, you could see those sunspots are actually moving across the sun. And at one point, I would take a white piece of paper and let that shine on that paper, and I'd draw where those sunspots were. And if you do it multiple days, you could actually see those sunspots moving across that sun. It's really pretty cool. And of course, other than looking at the sun, you look at stars and planets and stuff. I remember looking at Saturn, uh, Venus, um, Mars. The other ones I don't really remember. I'm not sure if I saw Jupiter or not, but you know, Venus for sure. Um, um Mars and Saturn, because of its rings, you could definitely pick that out for sure. Um, so I was always interested in astronomy and stars and stuff, and out there, that's always been one of my interests. So that's the end of this story.